that's it, kids. That's the chapter. That's the entire chapter. Jesus, time to record. Uh, uh, maybe the most verbose chapter of the entire fic was not the one to start the reading on. If you're listening to this, you probably know why I started on 20. If you don't, I don't know why you're here yet. I haven't told anyone about this. I'm not gonna re-record that because that's fucking stupid. I'm not. No. But no, yeah. My friend is reading through my fanfiction, so I figured I would record these as little audio bits, pieces, stuffle waffle. If you're here and you know my fic, kudos on finding this. The fic in question is Hunters, Angels, Werewolves, Oh My by Iohari on a couple different platforms. AO3 is probably the best place to find it, and I will link that in the description. But no, my friend is reading through, and I figured I'd give him audiobooks to listen along to. So yeah, hi Holton, I love you. We're just having a great time here, folks. Yeah, I wrote this completely separate of the story. Like, I just wanted to riff about Sam and Lucifer because I enjoy it. I just wanted to write a little, Lucy, Sam, Crowley, thruple fic and, like, have that good fluff, angst. You know the drill, you know the feeling. But yeah, and this happened, and I was like, you know, why not make this a chapter? I mean, I can make this canon. There are no rules. No one can stop me. And no one did. And now we're here, and it's a major point of this of the fic so far, cuz Sam and them ended up staying in town for a while. But yeah, let's get to some notes. I'm pretty proud of this chapter still. There are definitely a few things I'd probably change about it. Mostly wording and stuff. Though that only bothered me because I had to fucking read it a million times for this. Because I kept fucking up on wordings. There are definitely issues, typos and whatnot, that I just noticed. Less than most of the chapters, though. Again, I still don't have a beta to this day, so that exists. That's a thing we have to deal with in this house. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to edit this one, just 'cause, like, it's... Like, I probably will rewrite it when I get there in the rewrite. Oh, yeah, that... For anyone wondering, that is why I started on 20, 'cause I'm not gonna bother with the chapters prior to 20 as they are now, because I'm working on a whole bunch of rewrites, like, of the entire first part of the fic, and so I'm not gonna waste my time reading the old ones when the new ones are going to be so much of a time, as evidenced by this one. But this is not a new one, to be clear. This is an old one. I wrote it a long time ago. I can't remember when, but it was a bit. It's been a bit. But yes. I don't know if I'm gonna rewrite this. I'll probably just edit it at most. I have no interest in rewriting this entirely. There are a couple chapters previously that I've, like, more or less, just redone huge parts of them. However, this one I feel like holds up pretty damn well. I know I'm probably just being an asshole about the other ones and fucking giving myself too much shit for them, but there's some nuggets of just cringe at the beginning, and I just had to get rid of them. But yes, now I have to make notes. Let's go over this. Anyways, so this segment is mostly particularly for Halton. So if you're not Halton, you can definitely leave unless you also haven't seen Supernatural or Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf isn't relevant for this chapter, but if you've seen Supernatural and you get the basic gist, well, no, I guess anybody can stay if they want to, but this is just notes. You don't have to listen to them. You don't need to not listen to them. This is just extra bits of thoughts and explanations of what's going on in the chapter and, like, where the show was at and where this is at it in canon, and explanation of that canon because my friend has not really seen much of the show. So I'm gonna explain things because I love him and he's wonderful. And also there are a lot of people who read the fic who have not seen one or both of the shows, which I find fucking incredible. I don't know why anyone is just reading my story on its own merit, like as their intro into these shows. It's wild to me. But this came at a time where we didn't know Lucifer was coming back to the show. It seemed very unlikely, but like this was a common kind of fantasy for Samifer shippers, like Nick and Adam and Michael getting, not Nick, Lucifer and Nick and Michael and Adam all getting shot out of the cage just randomly, and then you just write like cute shit like how does that go? Like what do they do once they get out was basically the premise of this prompt that a lot of people wrote fics for at the time. But yeah, this is trying to think where it is specifically kind of in the plot. It's just I do have this said in the AO3 description that this is set about a year before the storyline. That's fucking bullshit. That doesn't mean fucking anything. This could be several years. I've retroactively decided that Sam and Dean have been through much shit that they just don't age normally if they age at all, which I can do because I'm God here, so fuck off. But yeah, and yeah. So I don't know that it's a year before what is happening in the fic. But it is vaguely recently. Like, it wasn't a long time ago. Like, and the fucking supernatural side of the fic takes place vaguely, well, let's just say most of chapter of... I stopped watching when they brought Lucifer back. Let's just put that groundwork in your mind. That means nothing to my friend, but anyone who knows the show is gonna know where that is, whereabouts. If you don't know whereabouts that is, don't worry about it. It's just, we don't talk about late seasons Lucifer. It's a different character. We don't talk about it. He doesn't exist. Never happened, sweetie. We're focusing in the moment, and the moment is the fan fiction. That's what we're on. We don't need that we don't need those other seasons. We don't need them. We're focusing on this, loves. Anyways, I'm gonna stop this voice. But no, basically, Supernatural got a lot of shit for their... They completely changed the characterization of Lucifer. As you can probably tell by the fic, I'm a little bit of a Lucifer stan. So, that wasn't fun for me. And I had a feeling they were gonna do it, given the promotional material they had leading up to Lucifer coming back. So I was just like, you know what? Maybe I'm just gonna not. Maybe I'm just gonna like step back from the show at this point and just see how it goes. And it went poorly, and that is how I'm not watching Supernatural anymore. So that's fun. But yes, when did Lucifer come back? It was in the Darkness plotline. Amara probably exists. Amara is the We're not gonna get into all that. We can explain that if it ever becomes relevant in the plot. Amara isn't a person we're talking about. It's fine. Nobody Google anything. It's fine. But yeah. Point is, Sam and Dean are mostly retired. They're still working some cases, but no major shit has happened in recent years, because of reasons. Because, let's just say God stopped going through his midlife crisis. God was having a midlife crisis, and that's what all the fucking apocalypse shit every 3 years was all about. Let's just say that, and that's over now. And they've settled down to, like, just doing, like, normal shit. Like, just nothing. Just normal jobs, normal hunting jobs, blah, blah, blah. Living their lives in the bunker, the Men of Letters bunker. I have a lot to explain. But no, so the Men of Letters bunker is a bunker, full of supernatural crap, full of, like, long-time hunters. The Men of Letters were basically hunters, but professional, but organized, but, like, the shit. Yeah. And, Dean and Sam found this bunker at some point, blah, blah, blah. Whole bunch of shit goes on. Don't need to worry about it. This shit happens. And they're living there. Anyways. This is really confusing having to explain everything about the show. But no. Yeah. Basically, they live in this bunker in, where is it? Lazarus, Kansas? Is that it? I think it is. I will have to Google that. I could do that right now. This is unnecessary, but I'll do it. Man of Letters bunker. Lebanon. I didn't even have to get to the point where it actually says where it is. I just remembered. I'm a fucking dumbass. It's in Lebanon, Kansas. God fucking damn it. But yeah. 'Cause supposedly that's like the midpoint between the entire the entire, the states that touch each other. That's the midpoint. So apparently it was a good place for a fucking hunting headquarters kind of deal, And it's nice and posh, real nice place, and it's sunk in the ground, and it's completely impervious to pretty much anything magical getting inside of there, except when it happens in the show constantly. We don't talk about that. Let's not look at the giant plot holes, okay? But yeah, for reasons, most things can usually not get in the bunker, is the point. And it's very posh, very comfortable, a lot of bedrooms, a lot of space. That is why Cass and Dean don't respond when Sam calls them. They're probably asleep at the time, blah blah blah. Let's talk about Lucifer and who Lucifer is and the plot with him and Sam. So yeah, this is gonna be just a rundown of fucking season 5. So Sam, well, more than season 5, god damn it. Anyways, so Sam and Dean were predestined from birth, prior to birth, forever to just be, the true vessels for Lucifer and Michael, the archangels. And, yeah. So, I'm gonna just, yeah. Sorry, I'm dissociating a little bit. Fuck. Shit. Dean, Sam, vessels. Okay. They were predestined to be, Lucifer and Michael's true vessels. Sam was fed demon blood at his birth to prepare him for this. His mother ended up dying because of that, and that's what sent his family down the path of hunting, even though his mother had also been a hunter, but she had retired, and her family didn't know about her past. But, yeah, she died, and then her husband got into hunting, Sam and Dean's father, and Sam and Dean's father forced them into hunting. And so that's pretty much the setup for the entire plot of the show. Sam goes to college and meets a wonderful young woman who we talk about in this chapter named Jess. Jess is a lovely young lady, smart, pretty. She's got everything you could ask for, not to mention plays into Sam's mommy issues because she's blonde and blue-eyed just like his mama and petite. Spittin' fucking image, I'll tell you. But yes, we love Jess. She's a fucking goddess. 10 out of 10. Would go on a lovely coffee date with her. But no. So Sam was in love with this girl. Dean rolls into town like, hey, come do a job with me because Dad's missing and I need somebody to do this job with. Let's go look for him, blah, blah, blah. So Sammy's like, fine, fucking A, let's go. One time, I swear to God, I'm never doing this again because he had gotten out of hunting completely. His dad had kicked him out when he decided he wanted to go to college, and he was living with Jess at this point, and he didn't want to be a part of hunting anymore. But Dean came, asked him, so he went this one time, and he gets back, and Jess isn't home, so he goes to lay down on the bed, and Jess is on the ceiling, blood dripping from her stomach, and fire erupts around her, same way his mother died. And I'm sure you can see the blood on the walls here. A demon named Azazel, who we talk about in the chapter, pretty much set up both of these events. The first one wasn't entirely on purpose. Mary just happened to walk in when he was feeding Sam the demon blood, and Jess, he absolutely did on purpose. I think Brady might have done that technically, but Azazel, Brady is a friend of Sam's who was actually a demon. We'll talk. Oh, we talked about him in the chapter 2. So he is relevant. I'm not just bringing up a random fucking character. But no, anyways, that might have been Brady's doing. But Azazel definitely orchestrated the entire shit and was a major, like, the driving force in ruining Sam's life, so he would be ready to be a vessel for Lucifer. It is common theory that Lucifer could see everything that was going on with Sam, etc., etc. That's why he knows about, like, pop culture and stuff. That's why he knows about Sam's life, about his girlfriend, about blah, blah, blah. And, in season 4, Lucifer gets let out of the cage, which is where he is imprisoned in hell, so he can't cause trouble. And the cage is specifically built to keep him imprisoned and, I don't know, punish him. I don't know. It's it's very murky water. We don't talk about. Maybe they talk about it in the later seasons that we're not talking about right now, but we're not talking about those, so I wouldn't know, would I? anyways. Yes. So that point is Jess. We already covered Jess. Uh, but yeah, when Lucifer gets out of the cage, when he first goes to visit Sam, he comes to him in the form of dreams, and he takes Jess's form, uh, and, like, comforts Sam and, like, is very, very loving. Nothing happens in the show, unfortunately. But, which, no, that would be iffy anyway. Let's not pretend. Let's not say unfortunately, because that would be very iffy. Because we don't know if Sam would know or not know. It's just a whole ordeal. But no, nothing happens. He's just, like, talking to Sam while in the form of Jess. And Sam doesn't really know who he's talking to. It seems like he has some idea that it's not actually Jess. I think in the first one he might have, like... no, I feel like both times he kind of had an inkling, oh, wait, this isn't right. And he just went with it. But yes. Sam feels kind of iffy about the first dream, I'm pretty sure, and then by the time the second dream happens, he's like, something feels off about this, and, like, but he still talks to Lucifer as if he's Jess, and just continues, like, okay, I know you're trying to comfort me, but I am not in the mood, like, no, not right now, just, let me think this on my own, and, like, Lucifer takes the chance to turn into his vessel to show Sam that it's him, and be like, hey, it's me, let's do introductions now, and obviously Sam is not happy because, oh no, devil, it's the devil, oh no, when Lucifer's just chilling, like he just came to say hi. Like he could find Sam whenever he wants, and he's just like, no, I just like you, and I want to, like, talk to you, and, like, also, like, could you maybe be my vessel? That'd be really fucking sweet, dude. Uh, but yeah, you seem awesome. I'm pretty awesome. Do you wanna get to know? And Sam is like, no, this this little fucking compet fucking straight quote unquote Christian boy ain't having no fucking loving devil creeping around in his head. No, no, no. You know, that good shit. That good shit. Uh but yeah, and then later in the season he raises Death because Death was an ancient contained evil at one point, which I don't. That was a weird plot point. We don't need to talk about it. But apparently Death was imprisoned for some reason, and Lucifer had to go out of his way to raise Death as one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, because he wanted to do the apocalypse and whatnot, because daddy issues, basically. That's basically the gist of it. Don't worry about it. As for Lucifer and Dean's relate, Dean, like, Dean is Dean, as it is. Any issues Sam has with the whole devil thing, Dean just cranks that up to, like, a 9. Like, just a solid, like, he's just big. Like, he does not, like, it's very clear in the show. Honestly, he kind of seems like he's more okay with the devil prospect than he is with the entire wanting to start the apocalypse, wanting to use his brother as a vessel, and wanting to use the two of them as vessels in a fight to the death, uh, in between him and Michael. Uh, but which is surprising given Dean is Dean. However, an argument could be made either way, either Dean being more weird about Lucifer or less weird. But Dean never likes Lucifer and is very vocal about it, which is kind of the point. He is the antagonist in the show at that point. But, however, like, Dean would be naturally annoying to Lucifer and is naturally annoying to Lucifer because, like, there's a whole meme, mostly due to Cass and Dean, that Dean represents humanity or humanity represents Dean, and it's not wrong. Dean has a lot of, like, when you stereotypically think human, yeah, Dean has a lot of those qualities that you would think. Like, you look at Dean and you would say, yeah, that's probably a good representation of humanity. Not too bad, like, fucks up, but mostly a good person. Like, not always a good person, but usually a good person. He's got a lot of stuff going on in his brain, and he's got a lot of flaws, but, yeah. And, yeah, it just makes sense that, Lucifer not really liking humanity very much would, particularly not enjoy Dean. I feel like they work this out a bit better, by the time we're in present day of the fic, but, not completely. They definitely still have communication issues on a big scale. Just a lot due to Dean also exhibiting a lot of the qualities that put Lucifer and Michael at odds. Because Lucifer and Michael are also obviously at odds. But yeah. Where are we? Yes. But yeah. Despite their entire thing that they go on about, Lucifer does let Dean get away with a lot of bullshit. Just like the most bullshit. Like Dean gets to make all the stupid quips he likes. He gets to interrupt. He gets to be an asshole whenever he's around Lucifer, and Lucifer pretty much says nothing about it the entire, like, 5th season, basically, until right up till the very end of the season, and it is just peak, and I love it. It's like just a great character building, like, kind of thing that you probably wouldn't notice most of the time. Like, Lucifer is the devil and is supposed to be super scary and everything, and yet he is so much more respectful and patient with the boys than the fucking heaven side of things, like Michael and, like, the angels who work for Michael. Like, it's incredible to see, like, just how nicely Lucifer treats Dean, even though it's pretty clear he hates everything that Dean stands for. Just on principle, and it is really funny. and just, like, gives me so much for, like, how much he cares about Sam. Like, because that's the only reason he's putting up with Dean. Because if he hurts him, like, Sam would be obviously pissed. He would be distraught to the heavens that he would hurt Dean. And Lucifer knows that that would not be good for him or for Sam. So he's like, okay, okay, you annoying little fuck. You interrupt, I guess. You say your funny little quips and be adorable. Okay, yeah. Okay, now let's move on and actually deal with shit. Uh of course they never actually deal with shit because that's not the show that this is. This is the boys stopping the apocalypse and fighting bad guys show, but we're gonna ignore it. Anyways, oh, the thing about the pagans. I already sent clips about this to my boy. But yes, honestly, Hammer of the Gods is one of my favorite episodes. That's the episodes with Lucifer dealing with the pagan gods. And I just want to say, this episode is so emblematic of Lucifer as a person. Like, it shows his flaws, it shows his strengths, it shows his priorities. Like, I love this episode in particular, and I really, like, the plot was just spot on, the premise, just everything. It's kind of Monster of the Week, because, like, it just starts, and anything could have happened previous, and it would still make sense, basically. in the context of the show. Like, not that pagan gods kidnapping a couple guys wouldn't be weird in a lot of shows, but in this show, any episode could have come before this episode, and it'd make just as much sense. Like, the guys are doing some shit, they show up at a motel, they're like, oh, we'll stay here for a few days, and it turns out there's a pagan convention going on there, and let's just say their presence isn't an accident, because these gods are specifically talking about, like, how the apocalypse is an issue and what they're gonna do with the Winchesters, Sam and Dean, to stop that. And most of the ideas boil down to kill them. So yes, one of the gods, Mercury, which I know I say really fucking weird. I have a speech impediment. I can't fucking help it. I know that's not how you're supposed to say Mercury, but I say it super stupid. Just, we're gonna move past it. But yeah, one of the gods, Mercury, decides to try and save his own skin, probably. I don't know what Mercury's motivations for calling Lucifer were. Like, I don't know what he thought would... Like, when Lucifer shows up, he says the talks were getting crazy, but the talks were like, okay, are we gonna kill the boys or not? Like, how are we gonna do this? Do we wanna, like, actually, like, do something to stop it, or do we just want to try killing them and see if that works? And that was basically the extent of the talks. And I don't know how he figured that this was crazy. Like, all I can imagine, because he doesn't seem like a particularly morally, like, structured character, is just that he was worried about the backlash that they would get for killing the boys, and decided, you know what? I'm just gonna try and save my own skin. That's basically how I read his character motivations. But yeah. So Lucifer shows up, pissed to hell and, like, fucking is a dick to Mercury, but, like, after he is like, you know what, you're a fucking piece of shit. Like, you just sold out your friends. Like, you are like, your kind specifically are horrible, but you, sir, you, you are pretty emblematic of that, and just kills him. Like, right there. But he kills him very quickly. So it's like, eh. Like, at least he got a quick and painless death. Like, he just breaks his neck and he drops to the floor. The other gods, he is much, like, people are exploding in, like, just blood on the walls. If you've seen the episode, it's amazing. Just fucking god tier. I love it. Yeah. Lucifer is fucking pissed. Like, he seems worried about the boys. I don't want to, like, infuse my own interpretations of it and my own, like, emotional readings, but, like, I don't know how else you can really read it, because we never really see Lucifer pissed off in pretty much the entirety of the show. Not the way that he is this episode. During the fight, when Michael gets hurt, is really the only other time we see him angry, and I find that really fucking interesting. Because there's no reason for him to be pissed off here unless he actually has emotional investment in the boys. Like, he can bring Sam back to life, and Sam will probably thank him. Like, they'd be probably more, grateful. That's the word I'm looking for. Grateful of Lucifer for bringing them back to life and being like, hey, I brought you back to life. I know you guys died. It's really unfortunate. I took care of everything. I took care of those fuckers who killed you. I'm really sorry that happened. If I'd heard about it sooner, I would have come immediately. You should have prayed to me. Sam, you can pray to me when you're in trouble and I'll come help you. There doesn't need to be strings attached, 'cause I care about you. I want to help you. And if he'd done that after the fact, like, fuck, like, I am sure the guys would have responded much better to that than to fucking, Lucifer coming in like a bat out of fucking hell and just fucking ripping people apart in a horrifically chaotic, just fucking tornado of body parts and gore and fury while they cower in this fucking dining room. But, yeah. That is what Lucifer does. He charges in here, like, with the most terrifying, like, I'm not a big fan of Mark Pellegrino personally, but he is really the best actor for Lucifer, and he pulls it off so well. Like, the look that Lucifer has in this episode as he's doing this, all of this is fucking amazing. And it just so clearly shows how pissed off he is, how worried he is, how, like, tense he is, and how little he cares about anything except why he's there, and that's to save the boys. Like, and make sure everyone who tried to hurt them is dead. Like, and I find that fucking incredible. 'Cause he could have, like, just teleported next to Sam and gotten Sam out of there. Like, nothing else was necessary. Like, even still, that wouldn't have been probably as effective as, like, bringing them back to life after the fact. But, like, if he just swooped in, grabbed them, and then, like, swooped out, like, he would have been, like, what else would, like, they would have been like, Um, you done did that, okay. I don't, like, we can't really argue with this, because it's a good thing, can we? But no, obviously he cares about this a great deal and is very pissed off about it. Like, not even in a, like, you touched my toys sense, because the level of rage and revenge here is not, like, comparable to anything you can compare to, like, possessiveness, really. And it really ends up fucking his relationship with the boys, because he is fucking terrifying. He walks into that fucking, I think I mentioned it in the fic. He walks into the dining room where the boys are hiding with, who was it? Asshole Face and Kali. His name is an Asshole Face, I just can't remember what god it is. It's one of the asshole ones, that's all I know. Balder! It was Balder! I'm sorry, the mic peaked there for a minute. But yeah, it was Balder, and Kali. They were protecting Sam and Dean to, protect their investments, because they didn't want Lucifer to have Sam and Dean. Because if Lucifer has Sam and Dean, then the fucking apocalypse can go off. Literally their only motivations in this. They do not care about the guys at all. Which, I love that that's the dichotomy, that the bad guy actually cares about their well-being and just doesn't want them to get hurt, period, even though he has no stake in what happens to them, because he can just bring them back to life. And the good guys, quote, that we're supposed to be rooting for are literally only working in their own selfish self-interest and, like, trying, like, just quote unquote, protecting the main characters so that they can later use them to stop the apocalypse, possibly by killing them. And I find that interesting. But yeah, Lucifer charges into the dining room where the boys are and is so, like, oh, and I didn't even mention the fact, like, Lucifer literally puts something in place so the gods can't fucking leave. Like, he is that fucking in that he wants to hurt these people. Like, he wants to fucking destroy them so badly. He put a thing in place so they couldn't fucking leave. It's also probably so they couldn't leave with the boys, but he probably could have just put something in place so the boys couldn't leave. Like, and then just, if the gods fucked off, they fucked off. If they didn't, they didn't. But he specifically wanted to kill every god in this place, clearly. And that's fucking gorgeous to me. But yeah, he walks into the dining room, like, trying, like, you can tell he's trying to present himself as, like, nonchalantly as possible. And Sam and Dean are obviously terrified of him still. Like, because it's very clear he's fucking going for blood at this point, and they are, like, in the middle of just a fucking battlefield with bullets flying from one fucking side from an artillery tank machine gun just going fucking everywhere. And, like, they're in the middle of all that. And they very clearly see this the entire time. And it's just a wonderful part of the episode. And Lucifer walks in and they're obviously terrified, but he's trying so hard to keep it fucking together, because even though out in the hall just a second ago he was losing his fucking shit and just clearly pissed as hell, just stoic as shit, not showing a lick of emotion other than, I'm gonna kill you all. And I'm gonna do it without fucking batting an eyelash. And fucking, he walks in and he suddenly just trying to act like his normal self, like, hey boys, good to see you, what's going on? And it's fucking perfect. Fucking perfect. I'm sorry, where are we? But yeah. And Kali and Balder try and stop Lucifer. Well, they don't really. Balder charges at Lucifer, and Lucifer just kills him outright. Because why the fuck would he give a shit about entertaining these fucking gods who are trying to hurt the people he cares about? And he just kills him right in front of the boys. Like, just destroying all that nonchalantness that he'd worked up. Because he wants, like, more than anything, to make sure that this never happens again. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't, as far as I can recall. But yeah, Gabriel, Michael and Lucifer's brother, who is estranged from them because Gabriel decided to leave heaven and go hide out as a pagan god Loki, and, like, just live as that. Like, he just decided to live as Loki. Further explanations are later given that I don't entirely agree with, but yeah. Point is, Gabriel is Loki, Loki is Gabriel. Well, Loki is not Gabriel. It gets confusing later in the show. In the fic, Lucifer... I'm gonna die. Loki is Gabriel, Gabriel is Loki. Same person. And Gabriel shows up because he had dated Kali in the past, and these were his friends, of course, because he was posing as a pagan god, and so he showed up to save the boys and to save Kali. Although not really save the boys, because Lucifer had no intentions of hurting the boys, he was trying to save them. But the point is, he shows up to save Kali, and he and Lucifer have it out because Lucifer is like, you're really gonna fucking be a fucking asshole for a bunch of fucking shitty fake gods? Really? Like, when I am your brother? Like, I am your brother. Why the fuck do you care about, like, you're really gonna fucking step up to me for this? And Gabriel is like, no, I'm stepping up for humanity, because I don't want you to destroy humanity, and I'm tired of your and Michael's shit. And, like, but it's very clear that he's stepping in at this point, mostly also because he's kind of got a little bit of a thing for the boys, but also because, like, these are his friends, and Kali is his ex, and he wants to protect them. And he's like, okay, I'm just gonna do this and fucking get involved in the fucking nonsense drama my brothers are doing, I guess. The thing is, Gabriel doesn't actually die at this point. Like, he just staged his death. He does this very often. It's, like, just a reoccurring thing in the show that he just fakes his death, to the point when it happened, literally no one believed it. And I don't think they intended this for this to be Gabriel faking his death, because he gets stabbed. Supposedly he gets stabbed because he uses a duplicate, but then he also gets stabbed himself. And it's a whole thing. And I'm pretty sure they actually meant for Gabriel to die, but everybody was like, yeah, sure, he's dead. Sure, we believe you. That they ended up bringing him back in later seasons, and it's a great time. It's a great old grand time. Because we just kind of bullied them into bringing him back, and it was very funny. But yeah, and Gabriel ends up dying at the end of that episode so that Kali can escape with the boys. Next, worth mentioning... Oh, the gift worth that he thought Sam would genuinely appreciate. Like I said, Sam's entire life was basically orchestrated so that to best prepare him to be Lucifer's vessel, by Azazel. And, Sammy Boo, had a best friend in college, named Brady, who was a good guy as far as Sam knew at the time. And he, as they were in college, started falling into like drugs and sleeping around and blah blah blah, like a lot of hedonism. And like Sam always didn't think anything of it, and then later in the show we find out that Brady actually got possessed by a demon because he was friends with Sam, and that pretty much the most of the time that they knew each other, Brady was actually a demon, and apparently that was a thing with a lot of people in his life, that people he was with were just, also it's since I accidentally slipped up and said with, it like there is some sexual tension between Brady and Sam that's very interesting. Not enough to be like, oh, they were probably dating, but they were probably dating. That's all I'm saying. I just think maybe we should consider the possibility. Okay, I'm moving on. But no, like his prom date, one of his teachers, like a lot of people he knew actually were demons. And we kind of find out through this scene, and Sam kind of finds out through this scene, where Lucifer collects all of the demons who had messed with him in the bodies that they had used to mess with him. And as said in the fic, that doesn't go great because Sam didn't know a lot of these people were demons, and in a way he's still hurting people because he doesn't know if these bodies are dead. He doesn't know what's going on. And Lucifer decides, we're gonna do some bonding experience and we're gonna kill these motherfuckers. Cause fuck them. Fuck Azazel. They hurt you. We're gonna fucking get our revenge. We're gonna have a fucking time, buddy. And Sam probably enjoys it to some extent, but it also probably causes huge amounts of, like, guilt and sorrow. And, yeah. Is there anything about that point I'm missing? I don't think so. The day of the fight. That's the next point, the day of the fight. The first meta I ever wrote was on this fucking scene. The first meta I ever wrote was on this scene. Okay. I just needed to get that out. And it's a very good meta. I've wrote further metas about... Have I ever touched on that again? Not really. But Jesus fucking Christ. This fucking scene. If you ever... Like, just help me here. Lucifer... like, you can see it in his face. Jared is such a good actor, and I love him with all of my heart. The way he plays Lucifer, you can see from 1 minute to another. Like, you can see when he's Sam, and you can see when he's Lucifer. And I don't... Like, obviously he could have slipped up in this, and, like, it might not have been intentional or the intended writing of the show, but, like, he's still him. Lucifer is still Lucifer in Sam's body when he decides to uncurl his fist and, like, put his guard down, and, like, you can see it wash over his... Like, he just closes his eyes and, like, lets Sam take control in the fight scene. And you can see it in his face. Like, when he looks into the car and sees the whatever he sees that jogs Sam's memories is like it's Lucifer seeing that. It's not Sam. Because Sam knows all these things. Lucifer is seeing it for the first time through Sam's eyes, specifically. Like, he's experiencing these memories as if he was Sam, because he's finally in Sam's body, seeing things through Sam's eyes and experiencing Sam's emotions. And you can see that it is him when he's seeing this. And it's him after he sees this and he's like, oh shit. Oh shit. And this only comes after he starts beating the shit out of Dean for Cass Molotov cocktailing Michael and by accident killing him. Temporarily, he gets sent to heaven. They reconstitute Adam's body and they send him back down. But it takes a good few minutes, and so Lucifer is like, okay, fuck all of you. You just hurt my fucking brother. I'm the only one who gets to hurt my brother. And, like, he kills Cass. He kills Bobby. And he starts just beating the shit out of Dean. Like, he is so pissed off. And they get to the side of the car and, like, Lucifer gets a few hits off. And before Lucifer seems to kind of like lose some of his anger and his rage, because Dean isn't fighting back. Dean isn't pushing back at all. He's just fucking taking the hits. Like, he's just taking the punches, and Lucifer at a point seems like he's being like, okay, the anger's gone, but I need to get Dean to get it through his fucking head that like, he's not going to change this. He's not going to snap us out of this. This is what we're doing. The fight is going down today. Like, he's wasting his time here. He should be far away from here so, like, he doesn't die. Like, you can see in his face, like, this, like this fury he has in his eye, like, and all of a sudden that's gone, and like he's like has more of a determined look on his face, like, and he just keeps hitting Dean, and then Dean grabs his arm and is like, Sammy, it's okay, and like is trying to comfort Sam while Sam and Lucifer are beating the shit out of him. And Lucifer just looks at him and is like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you like, you're comforting us? And that's when Lucifer ends up looking away and like catching his eye on something, and then Sam's memories flood to him, and he is like, oh shit, Dean's not gonna give up on Sam the way Michael gave up on me. Holy shit. These two love each other so much. So much more than Michael ever loved me. Oh my god. And you can see when he lets Sam take control. And he just decides that he's going to let Sam throw him and Sam into the pit. It almost looks at a point like Lucifer is just going to come out himself. Like, he decides that he's just going to evacuate Sam's body. Even though that would suck dicks for Lucifer so fucking bad. It does look like he does that because he does this weird, like, Jesus-y pose. And we all know fucking Lucifer has a messiah complex out the fucking ass. But yeah, and then Michael shows up and goes to, and is like, nah, Sam, you can't do this. Like, we need to get this fight going for no fucking reason. Like, it's just destiny. We have to do it. And Sam is like, fuck you. We're going in the hole. It's not up to you. Like, and this entire time, Lucifer's not taking back control. And Michael decides he's gonna try and grab Sam because Sam is about to throw himself into the pit. And Michael grabs onto Sam's jacket, and Sam, quote unquote, grabs Michael by the arm and pulls. And, like, you can see this look on his face of, like, passion and determination in it. And this is where it comes in again, that I say you can really tell a character switch between Sam and Lucifer. And like I said, again, probably could not be intended very well. But this face, this passionate, this is what I want to do and I'm gonna do it and you can't fucking stop me. And if you try and stop me, I'm gonna take you with me, you motherfucker. This doesn't read as Sam. This definitely reads more as Lucifer to me. And this is only furthered by the fact that Michael is a super strong, beyond super strong. Normal angels are super strong. Michael is an archangel. Like, there is no way Sam, completely under his own control, suppressing Lucifer, would be able to pull Michael, an archangel, into the hole. Like, it's just not happening. So Lucifer would have at least had to have been perfectly conscious and able to take at least some control and have consented to this and decided, yeah, I'm gonna pull Michael in with us. I'm gonna let Sam use my strength to do this, at least. Like, even if he didn't take over fully and was in control in that moment when he pulled Michael into the pit, he at least had to decide that they were gonna go in the pit. Because if it was just Sam, Michael could have pulled him back. Like, Adam couldn't have, because Adam is Sam's little brother, and he's tiny, and he's petite. But Michael isn't bound by Adam's strength. He's an archangel, and he has superhuman strength, incredibly disproportionate to Adam's body, and Sam would not have that if he was suppressing Lucifer's influence. So obviously, Lucifer decided, in my mind, it is clearly obvious that Lucifer decided to throw Michael into the pit with him, and decided to let Sam throw them into the pit. And I just love that. I love everything about. Like I said, I'm a Lucifer stan. Like, I just fucking love that. I love his character. I love everything about him. Blah. Ooh, but I do want to point out, the line about, maybe should have blocked him out, pushed a little harder, but that was how you burnt a good vessel right out. This I went off of, there's an episode in season 5 called The End, where, I told Halton about this, so he already knows what I'm talking about. You already know what I'm talking about. Dean goes to a alternate future where, the fight happened. Sam never regained control because Dean never went to see him at the fight and just kind of gave up and decided, okay, I guess there's nothing I can do. And Lucifer, and Michael had their fight, and Lucifer won, and now the Earth civilization is destroyed, and blah blah blah, and we get to see Lucifer, because Dean is still trying to kill Lucifer in Sam's body, and is just, like, considers Sam as good as dead, like, doesn't like, doesn't care about him if he was alive. Like, 'cause he said yes, he did all of this, it's his fault too. Like, he fucked up. Like, now I have to take care of this, I have to put him down. And that's just a fucking part of the episode, and it's a really dark episode, but it's, spicy. And Lucifer is there, and he fucking, like, is such an interesting character at that point, because we can very clearly tell he's not in his right mind. Like, he acts so different compared to how he acted before. Like, even the way any previous performance of Lucifer to this point, like, even Jared's performance of Lucifer in after this point in season 5 is just fucking nothing compared to this. Like, it's obvious that Lucifer is kind of off. Like, it's clear he's not entirely the same person anymore. Which is really weird, considering this is only 4 years later after the fight. So he shouldn't really be a different person. Like, 4 years to an angel is good as nothing. But he's here, and he seems really not doing great. He seems a bit unhinged. He seems like he's lonely and broken in a way. And I think he does say something along the lines of Sammy isn't here. And I think that's true to a really big extent. Because I think what happened there was Sammy probably couldn't take everything that happened. Him saying yes, him losing control, them going through with the fight and destroying most of the earth, most of civilization, and then being alone, not having Dean, not having his friends. I think at a certain point Sam just broke, and Lucifer didn't have Sam anymore. And, like, he had no one around him to love and to talk to. And I feel like that's where this line comes for. I think there was a pivotal moment in their journey where Sam was like, I can't fucking do this. I can't fucking do this. This isn't something I want to be a part of. Lucifer, please stop. I need to not do this. I can't do this. And Lucifer had to make a choice between whether he was going to prioritize doing the right thing for Sam and going through with the plan, quote unquote. And I think in the end verse, he decided it'll all be worth it. Like, we'll get through this, and then it'll be over. Like, Dean's not gonna die, his friends aren't gonna die, I'll make sure of it. However, I think that's where the breaking point was. I think he thought, it'll be worth it, I can make it up to him later, and then he couldn't make it up to him later, because Sam was being honest, and he couldn't take it. And he just broke, or he just gave up, and just went into a catatonic state in his own mind. And Lucifer lost the only person left that he cared about, and killed his own brother. Both of his own brothers. 2 of his own brothers. Raphael is already dead. I really feel like it's weird that never gets a shout out between the whole Lucifer and Michael drama. But we'll talk about the racism aspects later. No, we won't, because I'm not doing that. let's just say there are some racial problems with the show Supernatural, and one of them is that everyone's fucking white. Not a hard fucking thing to figure out, honestly. But yeah, and in the show, Sammy and Lucifer and Michael and Adam get thrown into the cage. And, Sam's body gets, like, immediately pretty much, removed from the cage. But his soul does not. His soul stays in the cage and he's just walking around topside soulless for a good while. And that's not great, because a lot of bad shit happens. Although he does work with Kate in this time in the fic. Not in the show, unfortunately. But yeah, in the fic, he and Kate work together a bit while he's soulless. Because they really vibe. You haven't met Kate yet, but Kate is an Argent, and so Sam worked with the Argent family. Do you know the Argents yet? The Argents are... Yeah, you know the Argents. You should know the Argents. Ellison Argent. Yeah, the Hunters. The Hunters. You know who they are. Okay. Fuck my life. I need to keep in mind where we are in the fic. Jesus. But yeah, so the cage tortures the people inside of it. Like, it's literally meant to contain and torture Lucifer. So, and I find it fucking wild that people think that, like, Lucifer and Michael would have been the ones, like, really fucking with Sam and Adam. I saw that Adam is in the later seasons, but I also heard very bad things happen, and I don't want to be a part of it. I've heard some good stuff about, like, him and Michael, but then I hear very bad things. Then I hear very bad things, and I don't want to watch it, so I'm not gonna watch it. Probably. I don't know. I hate myself, so I might. But no, I find it wild that people think, oh, all the torture that Sam endured was at Lucifer's hands, because the cage is literally, like, the worst part of hell. Like, that's the point of it. Like, it's literally supposed to be, like, the worst possible hell, meant to contain the devil himself, like, and punish him for his crimes, quote unquote. And fucking people think, oh, all these chains and meat hooks and horrible things that tortured Sam, they must be No. No, you dumb fucks. Why would it be Lucifer? Like, the fucking guy who let Sam throw him into the pit and fucking loved Sam to the like, what? Like, even if you don't buy into the love thing, what the fuck are you, like, what motivation does he have here? He let Sam take him into the cage, so why would he be, like, I get that not everybody prescribes to the he let Sam take him into the cage thing, but I feel like I've made a pretty good case for it. So if you don't, you shouldn't be hearing these arguments right now, because apparently you haven't heard mine. But I make a compelling point, so it's at least a viable interpretation. And if that's so, why would Lucifer have any animosity towards Sam for doing the thing he let him do? Like maybe after some time he might have gotten, like, crazy or something. That's a possibility, maybe. But, like, the way people, like, I don't want to say demonize, because that's a little funny talking about the devil. But, like, it just seems silly to me. Like, Michael, maybe, because obviously Michael would hate and be pissed off at Sam, at least. Although, I'm pretty sure we see, even in the show, that Michael doesn't have an issue with Adam. But no. And that's where there's a later, in, like, I think it's season 7, season 8, maybe? Sam gets his soul back from the cage, and he was tortured and blah blah blah, and it fucks him up a lot because he was tortured in hell, like, and he just got ripped out of it, like he's like it just happened, like he was like just last week, bud, I was in hell getting fucking tossed around a fucking demon cage by some fucking fighting archangels with fucking daddy issues and fucking a fucking torture cage just coming at me from every direction. And one and in the show, his flashbacks switch from like everything, like meat hooks and fire and blah blah blah, and like chains choking him, like physically choking him, like he actually gets choked and stuff. Which, like, so, like, would have, like, how is it having physical effects on him after the fact? That's my question, but obviously, if that continued, he would have died, and, like, for seemingly no reason, these hallucinations suddenly take the form of like a kind of off, kind of angy Lucy, like an angy Lucifer, and like it's kind of funny to me. Like, I don't know how I feel about Lucifer. I love Lucifer, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he was. I'm almost certain he wasn't 100% Lucifer. Like, I wouldn't put money on it because I don't have money, but I would, I would, I would say I probably think that it wasn't Lucifer. Like, it definitely wasn't 100% Lucifer. I'm pretty sure of that. However, I don't know if he affected it. Like, if he saw what was going on with the cage and was like, oh god, I should probably do something about this. I decided to interpret it as, like, the cage was, like, trying to claw onto Sam and, like, stay attached to him, and Lucifer saw this, and through his bond with Sam, and was like, oh, I can use this to talk to Sam, like he's still connected to us. I can talk to him and like still be with him. But like I took it as like all of his attempts to reach out were twisted by the cage in a way. And yeah, it I know I sent Halton clips of Lucifer. If you haven't watched the show and you're watching this, look up clips. Look up clips of Lucifer because it's fucking hilarious. Just clips of Lucifer in general, and you'll find mostly clips of Lucifer, which is annoying, but it's good for the purposes of this homework assignment. But yeah. Lucifer is he makes crude jokes, he's pushy, he's snarky, he like at a certain point in the show like just is fucking cruel and is pointedly trying to like annoy or actively hurt Sam. Not physically, mind you, mostly psychologically. But, like, it's clearly not 100% Lucifer. And it's really hard to believe it would have been how Lucifer was acting in the cage. But yeah. I just don't know. I don't know what to make of it, but that's what I made of it in this. Is that, Lucifer the entire time was trying to break out of the cage through the connection it was trying to keep with Sam, and thereby break the connection it had with Sam and also break out. Like, so just bash a hole straight through the cage so they could get out, and he could get to Sam and be with Sam. And that's what I went with. But yeah, at a certain point in the show, uh, Sam is committed because, like, Lucifer is just fucking him up so badly. Like, that he doesn't know what's real and he's a danger to himself and others, so he and Dean decide, okay, I'm gonna go into a mental asylum and try and fucking work this shit out, and we'll see if I ever get better. And he's not really getting better, and Cass ends up coming back, I think. I don't remember what was going on with Cass that season or what preceded this plot. But Cass decides to try and heal Sam by taking the damage done to him, taking on this bond with the cage, yada yada. And weirdly enough, he also starts seeing hallucinations of Lucifer. Even though he doesn't have the experience Sam has with the cage. And Sam still remembers the cage and all of that. So Cass didn't take all of the memories. He just took this, like, burden that Sam was having, like this scar that was causing him to have hallucinations and be mentally unstable in this way, and Cass takes this connection with the cage and somehow is seeing the same thing, but it's not acting the same. Like, it's acting similar. Like, it also seems to be the same forces behind it, but it's clearly interacting with him differently than it would Sam. Like, we don't see extended interactions between Cass and Lucifer, but I think we see them sitting on a bed and Cass is just looking at him. Not Cass. Lucifer is just looking at Cass, and I have to look that up more because I don't remember exactly what happens there. But yeah, I just always found it interesting that Cass also saw Lucifer, because, like I said, he doesn't have the experience Sam does. He doesn't have the same trauma. Cass has plenty of his own trauma. If this was a trauma-based illness, he probably would have been seeing some of his own issues, and it would be fucking with him in that way. So I feel like Lucifer probably had something to do with it and was somehow involved. But then when we later see Cass, he's not talking about Lucifer, he's not seeing him anymore, as far as we know. Like, and when we do see Cass again, he's changed severely, and he's like a nature lover. He's very mellow and, like, naive and childish, kind of. And he, like, loves bees, he loves nature. He's very, come what will. I go with the flow kind of deal, you know what I mean? And it's very reminiscent of, Lucifer in the Endverse, when he's possessing Sam, and it seems like Sam isn't there anymore, and he's all alone, and he's been alone for years. And that's what it seems like, kind of what Cass is like now. And I just found it really interesting that Cass ends up reflecting what Lucifer was like after not having Sam for an extended period of time. Not even an extended period of time for him, but in the cage, it would be an extended period. Well, no, because Lucifer's been in the cage for millennia, and in the cage, that's exponentially more. So, even still, Lucifer, it wouldn't be that long of a period for him to be without Sam, but, so it's analogous, is what I'm saying. Because 4 years isn't a lot of time to an archangel, but neither is, like, a year or so in the cage, without Sam. And then Cass ends up seeming to have the same kind of personality change that Lucifer ended up having. So yeah, that's all I want to say on that. And that's when we jump to Lucifer and Adam and Michael being spit out of the cage. And let's go over. We already explained the Men of Letters bunker. Nick is Lucifer's vessel. The vessel he took in place of Sam when he first came out of... When he first got resurrected in Season 5, he went to a guy who was a close enough vessel that he could use him for a while. Generally, archangels have a hard time keeping a body. And Nick was the best vessel Lucifer could find and convinced him to say yes, and so he used Nick as a vessel while he was trying to get Sam to say yes. And so, there's no particular reason that Michael came up as John and Lucifer came up as Nick, except that's how I like to envision them. And the reason their bodies no longer reject, the reason they no longer burn their vessels out, is, I figured, because the souls aren't in there. Like, Nick's soul isn't in there, like, they're just hollow forms, so there's plenty of room, and they can work on keeping the vessels, existing. Not burning out, is the point. I didn't like my delivery on the should be paying attention to me, but I recorded it like so many times and I couldn't fucking get it right. So, yeah, if you thought, that reading sounds a little weird, yeah, it does. I agree. But yeah, again, this is literally just the idea of, Michael, Adam, and Lucifer get spat out of the cage, and then what happens? You have to believe me, it was a popular trope for a while. And, yeah. So, Crowley. I'm sure Halton has done his Googling. Oh, Lilith. Lilith is a, antagonist in the, what season is it? Is it season 3 and 4? I can't remember. She's an antagonist in the show, and she's basically one of the first demons, as far as I recall it. She might have been the first demon. I'm not sure. But, she was previous Queen of Hell. She died so that Lucifer could be resurrected. I think prior to... I don't know if it's ever confirmed... I don't know if it's, like, a thing in the show. However, I had, like... It's either a headcanon of mine or it's canon. I'm not sure. But Lilith was queen of the crossroads, i.e. she made all of the demon deals and stuff, like selling your soul and whatnot, before she became queen of hell after Azazel died. And Crowley takes over after she becomes queen of hell. So, yes, that is who Lilith is. And as such, I take it that Lilith was a mentor to Crowley. And, like, just even though Lilith was, like, an avid Lucifer worshiper and Lucifer devotee, and Crowley is distinctly not that, I assume it was just a matter of a difference of opinions that they just kind of respected each other on and just rolled with. So that's fun. But yeah, Crowley is a demon who the boys meet, I think in season 5, when they're deciding to, when they're trying to figure out what to do as far as Lucifer goes. And, Crowley helps them find a gun that can kill almost everything. And, he's a crossroads demon and controls, like, selling of the souls. I already explained what this is, but yeah, after Lilith dies, he becomes king of the crossroads and is the one who manages all of that nonsense. Anyways, throughout the show, Crowley gets a lot more of a part and is a lot more of an antagonist and feature of the show. Not always an antagonist. A lot of the times he's just a helpful, impish character that comes up as a useful plot point. Like a MacGuffin. A good MacGuffin. I don't think that's the actual definition of MacGuffin. I'm probably using MacGuffin. Misusing a guffin. I swear I'm trying really fucking hard to say this correctly. Misusing the term MacGuffin. But yes, Crowley becomes a lot more of a character throughout the show. He has a lot of sexual tension with pretty much all of the main characters. But like my mainstay is Sam and Crowley. I like shipping Sam with the devil, as you can see. After Lucifer died, after Lucifer got yeeted into the cage, Crowley took over as King of Hell. Interesting fact. So he is also the devil. 2 devils. So my point is, I like shipping Sam with the devil. is just my point here. I also ship him with Gabriel. But we're not talking about Gabriel right now because Gabriel faked his death. We're gonna ignore him for right now. But yeah, Crowley goes through a lot of emotional bullshit. He goes to being like a hard and fast villain at one point in the show, and that's an arc. He doesn't die until later in the show, and that's a whole thing. And it's we don't like what happened with Crowley. No one does. Supernatural is shit, and I don't endorse anyone pay money to watch it. But I'm not gonna stop you. Whatever you choose to do, you can have your own opinions on the show. They did Crowley dirty, and you can't convince me otherwise. That's my piece on that. But yeah, he plays a villain at what? He has an arc where he is a villain. Otherwise, he's generally helpful, and after his villain arc, he kind of like has a redemption arc and works his way back up to being helpful and being like an asset to the boys and being a friend. That goes places. But that's after we're drawing the line of canon for the fic, so we're not gonna worry about that right now. But yeah, Crowley has comes to a lot of inner conflicts with his humanity because of reasons, and it's very interesting and fun. But the point is, Sam is a huge part in making him like question his humanity and his morality and like what his standards are and who he is as a person, like which he apparently hadn't considered much since ever. Like he wasn't a particularly morally inclined person in life. Like he had a hard life and like just was doing whatever he had to do to like take care of himself, and that continued into his demonhood, and like he just kept going on with that and like never gave much consideration into like uh really any of his standards beyond like, oh, I'm a classy guy and like I'm gonna do what's best for me, and through being friends with the boys and like having his own standards about how he deals with them, he really has to come to terms with that. Also, like for literal physical reasons, like he basically gets addicted to human blood. He gets addicted to human blood. The human blood. He has a human blood addiction, and human blood in demons makes them kind of fucked up. Not fucked up in like mental. Well, yes, also that, but like it fucks you up, like drug wise. Like it's a drug. Like it is very clearly a drug. And the thing is, it makes them experience really intense emotions because demons apparently have muted emotions and don't really feel things the way humans do. And human blood apparently just cranks that to 11. Like, just cranks everything to 11. And through that, he has to, like, come to grips with this. And this addiction is Sam's fault in particular. Like, I'm not trying to give him shit. I'm not, like, saying any such thing that you could think I'm saying. Like, no, he literally injects human blood in Crowley from the beginning against his will, and Crowley does not have a choice in that, and it is completely Sam's choice because because reasons in the show, for reasons. But yes, I'm like literally it was Sam's fault that Crowley got addicted to this. It was Sam who like completely triggered his looking into his own emotions and whatnots, and his moral being and moral worth as a person, and being concerned with that and trying to change himself for the better. And that is what led Crowley to be friendly with the boys. So, yeah. So you can see why I might maybe ship him and Sam a little bit. Because, quite literally, whether you ship it or not, Crowley really changes his entire ass who he is because he cares about the boys and wants to be friends with them and wants to be a good person so he can be something to them, like something more than just the bad guy of the week. And I find that real neat. And yeah, so Crowley helped Sam and Dean try and stop Michael, and he ended up getting in a lot of trouble for that with Hell, and it was a whole thing. I honestly don't know how he took over Hell after that, but it's a time. We don't look at the holes. Don't look at the holes. It's fine. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's canon that Crowley was either spending a good amount of time at the bunker or he was living at the bunker with the boys for a while, and this is kind of in that period. A lot of, like, you can tell by the other fics written at the time where this kind of took place, when I was writing this, because there are a lot of fics that had Crowley just randomly living at the bunker if that was not already a thing, and it doesn't really take place after because at that point Crowley wasn't around the bunker a lot, and it doesn't take place before because again Crowley wasn't at the bunker a lot. And I'm just saying, if you want, like, if you're in the know about, like, fanfic and, like, timelines, you know what's going on. Crowley uses nicknames for the boys. He calls Sam Moose a lot and Dean Squirrel. Squirrel is the main nickname Crowley has for Dean. He calls Sam a bunch of stuff. In this, he calls him pet names because they're dating, obviously. Yes, if you didn't know, it's a thing. Like, yes, they're all very, very in love. I love them. They love each other. We're all fun and having a great time. But no, like, canonically, he calls, like, Sam, like, Sasquatch, Jolly Green Giant, Giraffe, Samantha, and Moose, which is the counterpart to Dean's nickname, Moose, and Squirrel for Rocky and Bullwinkle. It's a whole thing, but yeah, and he calls, Cass Sparkles and Feathers, blah blah blah. You can probably infer which nickname is for which person, given context, given what he's calling them. But yeah, I figured the wings are heavy. I figured the wings were heavy. That's all I have to say about that. Let's keep going. B. Lucifer having abandonment issues. I love it. I think that's about it. And the end line, I didn't want it to, I don't want it to be taken, I didn't want it to be taken, and I don't want it to be, I don't know if I didn't want it to be taken, because I was pretty cringy at a certain point. I was pretty cringy, but I say doing the most cringy voice I could possibly fucking do. But no, I don't want it to be taken that Lucifer is, like, saying that he did a great, like, the entire point of the chapter is he did a fucking awful job taking care of Sam, and this more mean, and maybe it was his turn to be taken care of, more means, okay, he's fucked up with the taking care of. Maybe Sam is the one who should be doing the taking care. Maybe Sam will be better at this than he was, and he should just, like, sit back and, like, try not to fuck shit up, is the point. Like, the entire, I would hope it doesn't come off too, like, because, like, literally the entire point of the entire thing is, like, Lucifer is well-intentioned, but he fucks up so much. Like, that's the entire point of the thing. Like, that's everything that the chapter is about. And I feel kind of iffy about the placement of this chapter. But it's, I don't think there could have been a better place for it, is the thing. If you're one, like, yeah, like, maybe I should have just made this a side chapter and put it somewhere else. But I wanted to like give some backstory about like what was going on with Sam and Lucifer and Crowley. Uh, I decided to just shoehorn it into the middle of everything that was happening. And that's a thing. That's a thing that happened. That's a thing that we did. And the next chapter we're gonna be reading, if Halton doesn't hate this horribly, if Halton hates this, I might just stop. But if he doesn't, I look forward to reading to you all next time the transforming power of hostility at dinner. And that was supposed to be at the dinner table. And the interesting thing is I base all of these chapter titles off of like stuff, like actual things. Like I like actually Google actual pop culture things. Like and like sayings, movies, books, like, and this is a self-help book about like it's not about hostility, I'll tell you. It's not about hostility. That's one of the words I changed for. That's the only word I changed in this title. I'm pretty sure. But yes, interesting fact, if you haven't been paying attention, all of the titles are based off of stuff that exists. Or at least I try to. It's a thing. I tried to do. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it up because I'm a very tired boy. I have a lot going on. It's been a while since I even updated. I am working on it. I swear to fucking Christ I am. I wasn't for a long time, but I am now. Oh, I just noticed that the summary on AO3 for the next chapter, I could have talked about this in the next video, but I'm not going to, clearly. But the summary for the next chapter is, the title is derived from a book I don't even remember the actual name of. And then it says alt title, gay, and yeah. Oh, that's ironic. But yes, we will be doing that next time we gather here. And it is a fun little jaunt, and we're gonna deal with that. And for now, we are gonna end this here. If you like this, let me know. Specifically you, Halton. I love you. You're the best. Honestly, I love you all, and you're all the best. Anyone who sees this. But if you don't already know my fanfiction and you're here, go read that. It's down in the description. I promise it's a good read. I'm gonna be updating it at a point. I'm on like chapter 11. I'm writing some bonus chapters in that shit. I'm upping the word count a good bit, but it's fine because it's very much an improvement to the writing. Don't worry about it. It's still very good and very enjoyable. It's a fun time. If you like this, let me know in some way, shape, or form. You don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe if you don't want to, but if you want to catch these, you better. Honestly, the best way to let me know is probably to comment, because that's the only validation I listen to. I mean, numbers are amazing, but let's be honest, this isn't gonna get numbers. My fucking fanfiction barely has numbers. Okay, this outro is getting too long. If you like it, let me know. And if you want to catch more of them, subscribe. And I will maybe make more of these. Have a great day, everyone. Love you all very much. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you for the next chapter of the fic.